We'll just wait a little bit this time because last time everything got all cut off.
Well, that might have been my fault too.
No, it was. I don't know. It was. I was. But it's cool that I can just download the audio right from this. I tried for like a long time on YouTube and all the things were not working. All right, let's do this. What's up, everybody? My name's Indy, and the gentleman next to me under the sea, that's Mr. Jay Powell from Powell Group Consulting, and welcome to Indie Game Business. Today we have Marco Bettencourt from Redcatpig in Portugal, right?
Yep.
Wow. Redcatpig. And we are going to be talking about a lot of different things, but I guess the main subject today is having a virtual studio, working remotely with everybody.
Working remotely from an island in a pandemic. So, yeah, does that cover everything, Marco? Was there anything there?
It covers a bunch of stuff, man. It covers a lot of stuff, actually. But yeah. I mean, among other things that you guys want to talk about. But yeah, for sure. I mean,
we're going to do a lot today because it's as usual, our tagline of our highly organized and well thought out podcast. We were actually like 10 minutes before we went live. So what are we talking about today again? So you and I met because of the virtual event that you guys put on, Invest in Indies, right?
What? No, what?
I thought that was your event. Am I like completely
You've been to so many virtual events.
You're totally wrong.
Okay, good. I watch a lot of man. Okay, can the jury disregard that last statement? Okay, never mind. We might have met during it. I don't know. I literally am. To be the person who last year was like.
We talked the first time. I think it was on LinkedIn, and we were talking about Keo. And I mean, you told me. I was basically like doing a virtual consult with you, and I mean, you told me a bunch of cool things, and then I just started following you guys on social media. But then we actually got a chance to talk on. I think it was Nordic or EGBG, or I don't know, some of the thousands of events that we attended this year. And then we met again in some mentorship program that somebody put us together.
That was CGX.
Yeah. So it's like it's the destiny putting us together, man.
It's one of those things that I spent like all of last year jumping up and down trying to get people to pay attention to digital events, and now there's like just so many of them. Even I can't keep up anymore.
Hey, let's welcome Avery Sanders from LinkedIn. Since when I type in there, it doesn't go to LinkedIn. Welcome, Avery, and thanks so much for tuning in for the first time.
Does it not go to LinkedIn? We can't type to LinkedIn?
No, unless you're on LinkedIn.
That's
but when I went there, I don't know. I can't find the link. So
okay. All right. So our first question is always the same, but I'm actually going to change it today. Where did the name Redcatpig come from?
Man, Jesus Christ! Why is always the first question that people ask me?
Because that name is just so unique and
Jesus Christ! Random. Okay, first of all, I was totally against the name of the studio, and besides, I know
you got outvoted.
Coming from the CEO of the company, it's kind of weird, telling you that, but yeah, I was totally against it. The whole team was up for it, but then, we started going to physical events, like big events, for example, like Web Summit, which is one of the biggest events in Europe for entrepreneurship and new technologies and stuff. So that was when I totally thought that, hey, I was wrong. That's a cool name because we had our little booth there and we have this sign over the booth with our logo on it. And a bunch of investors and people with, wearing ties and stuff, they're all going by all the booths. But then when they saw our logo, saying Redcatpig, they just stopped, and like, hey, that's a weird name. What do you guys do? What the hell is Redcatpig? And then I figure out that it's an awesome icebreaker. It was an awesome. I mean, it still is an awesome icebreaker. A bunch of people come to us. I mean, when we are wearing T-shirts and stuff, people just say, "Hey, what the hell is Redcatpig?" Because we usually don't put anything related to gaming, so people actually Google it, and because it's such a stupid name, we are the only ones that pop up.
That
Right.
that is like brilliant planning right there. That's
But if you do want to know the meaning of Redcatpig, to be honest, there's no meaning. It was just, I mean, we spent like almost 2 days trying to figure out a cool name for the studio, and nothing was coming. Nothing. I mean, it was like total blank. But yeah, I mean, we just decided to do something different, and me and the guys, I mean, it was, by the time, I mean, the core team of the studio, it's only 3, and still it is. I mean, we have people working remotely, but the core team was us 3. So we basically decided that, hey, let's go out. Let's go out and let's I don't know, maybe drink something very spiritual, and yeah, and by the end of the night, we should come up with a word in English, and it might be cool to be a 3-letter word, for us to make like a little square logo. And yeah, I mean, one of us said red, the other one said cat, and the other one said pig.
So basically, you guys all got fucked up and then just started saying stuff.
Yeah. I think that's the technical explanation of what I'm trying to say. Yeah. That's the real marketing process right there. But
That's awesome.
when I look at the picture, I was like, wait, red, cat, pig, red. Dude, we are so screwed. but I mean, they convinced me. I'm gonna be honest. They convinced me that it was going to be a cool name, and yeah, I mean, we just kept it.
And you fought it the whole way until that day when they're like, people are coming up to the booth.
No, I mean, it is really cool. It is. I mean, people going by the booth, and some of them really asked why Redcatpig, and then I mean, I usually try to talk about something else, like, hey, look at the game, it's so cool, right?
Don't worry about the logo or the name.
Yeah, no, oh man, forget it. Hey, look at the game.
That.
You're like, it's 9 letters, it's in a square, it's red.
Yeah, no, actually, it's not red. It's according to our 3D concept artist, it's salmon.
Oh, salmon. Okay.
That's not red. Okay, and if you say that, he's probably watching, and when I go back to him, I mean, he's gonna be pissed. Like, that's not red. That's salmon right there.
Okay.
Oh, it's like a movie. Oh, Wreck-It Ralph, where he corrects him in the throne room. This is obviously salmon. So tell us, how did you get in the industry originally, Marco? And what has your career path been to get to where you are now?
Man, I've done so many stuff, but it was always something related to technology. It was always something related to that. I mean, my first job was coding for GSM stations here in the Azores, Portugal. I was basically, I mean, when you have a GSM station, on the bottom you have a little container with this huge computer inside, and I was basically doing the coding for that. But I mean, it was super boring and stuff. And I worked with other companies doing IT, but then I decided to create a digital marketing company here in the Azores, which was when I met my two colleagues, and yeah, I mean, it was a super cool company, but you know what, it didn't work, and I had to close shop, and then yeah, I basically decided with the other two that, hey, this whole gaming thing, I mean, that would be a dream, man. That would be a dream. I mean, we have a cool product here. We have something really cool on our hands. I mean, let's go for it. But one of my worries here was, all right, if we're doing this, we need to do this full time. I mean, the part time thing is tough, so we need to do this full time. But to do it full time, of course, you need to get investment, right? You need to get money. Otherwise, I mean, how are you gonna bring food to the table? But we were lucky enough to be able to build a great alpha build, and with that build and with our first I think I can say game design document and a business plan, we were able to get a business angel that believed on the project and especially believed on the team, and after that, I mean, we were able also to get a few awards. One of them that is very special for us, it's PlayStation Talents Awards, which is a contest that they run in Portugal, Portugal and Spain. And then, yeah, I mean, people started talking about the project, especially here in Portugal, and we did a first round of investment that was successful. And yeah, and here I am talking to two guys, and one of them has a beer that is cooler than mine. That's basically it.
And the other one has to keep his trim because it doesn't grow properly. It just kind of like poops
Yeah,
out the side.
yeah. I didn't want to tell you that, but yeah, you're trying too hard, man.
No, well, you got to use a blow dryer and.
Look, I didn't start growing a beard because I wanted to put more effort into my morning. Okay, that was not the.
See, but that's where people is wrong. You know, people look at a big beard guy and say, "Hey, look, it's a lazy guy." No, it gives you a lot of work.
You gotta use beard oil and balm and. Oh, we have a question here. I am so sorry, I do not know how to pronounce your name. Do you get government support in Portugal?
That's a cool question. I mean, depends of the support that you're talking about. In terms of, I mean, money wise, no, but especially here in the Azores, just to be more specific, we are not in Portugal mainland. We are in the Azores. Azores are 9 islands in the middle of the Atlantic that belongs to Portugal. But we have an independent government from Portugal, which gives us access to, for example, better funding from the Europe Union. But even then, we don't get access to that kind of funding because it's kind of hard to find a fit on gaming for this kind of programs. But I mean, in the Azores more specifically, we do have a lot of support as a startup, not specifically as a gaming startup, but as a startup, we do have a lot of support. I mean, for example, we are located in this amazing tech park called Telenov. I mean, it is a crazy investment of 10 million euros, and it's almost like a little Google campus. So it's really cool. And they gave us, I mean, a bunch of support on that sense. They keep us updated on in terms of funding, what we can go after. But yeah, so I guess we can say that yes, there is support from the government. It's just a specific kind of support.
That's fantastic, though. I mean,
yeah. No,
anything really cool that you can get these days, absolutely counts. And so,
Yeah.
Sorry, got completely derailed there. So, Marco, tell us a little about. I mean, obviously, the pandemic has affected everybody, but how has it been different for you all being in the Azores? I mean, you do have an honest to God like office, but now you're distributed, and then you're already separated from mainland, and you've already got a little bit of remoteness, and then pandemic hits. So, how did you all, handle that earlier this year when it first started happening?
Okay. First of all, before the pandemic, yeah, we are a little on a little remote place, but we don't feel that we are far from things. I mean, we do have internet, usually when people say that, oh, you were in such a weird place. I mean, you're working from islands. Come on, that's insane. But if you think about it, we are in a very special place. I mean, we are 4 hours and a half, I think, from Boston, 2 hours from Europe. So we are right in the middle of the action. And we do have straight flights from, I mean, to a bunch of places. So we don't even need to go to the mainland to go somewhere else. We do have straight flights from to a bunch of places. So before the pandemic, I mean, we were working as a normal studio. We do have a lot of connections on the Portuguese industry. I mean, the Portuguese industry is really cool. We don't feel competition at all. We actually help each other, and it's actually kind of cool being a little far away, because when we do have events on the mainland, I mean, there's always an excuse for a dinner or a lunch, or I mean, it's always super cool to get each other with the guys. Now, during the pandemic, of course, I mean, and trust me, Portugal, it's actually doing really good in terms of the pandemic. We are now looking for some bursts in Lisbon, but I mean, I believe and I hope that that is something that will be controlled pretty soon. But the Portuguese government has actually doing a really good job about dealing with it. And talking about the Azores more specifically, we are even better here. Because we are islands. The only thing that the local government needed to do, if you think about it, is, all right, let's close the airport.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and things were very well controlled. But even then, we did went home. We worked remotely for, I don't know, probably 2 months, 2 months and a half, I think. But the cool thing about our industry is that the tools that we use working under the same roof on the same studio, they are all ready to be used as I mean, remotely. Unity with the whole collab thing. We use Dropbox for our files. We have emails, of course, and so our industry is ready to work remotely whenever. So the main thing that I missed was being close to the guys, and nothing compares with the fact that we are in the same room and they tell me, hey Marco, hey, come take a look at this new weapon, or come take a look at this new car. Hey, drive a little bit and see how it feels now. Of course, working remotely, that's not easy to do, and especially being the biz dev guy. I mean, I'm the one that manages the project. The other ones, they are 100% always with their hands on the game. I don't. So I really need those moments to take a look at the game and see how it's going, and I mean, but even then, I mean, the fact that it all based in trust, most and foremost, because we know each other for so many years, it makes a lot of things easier. It makes a lot of things easier. So it's not like a cookie cutter. It's a different situation to every single studio. On our case, I'm lucky enough to say that we didn't actually feel anything pushing the project, pushing it back, delaying the project. We actually worked really fine. But I mean, we were eager to come back to the tech part. We were eager to get back to our studio. But that's normal.
It's one of those things that, I mean, I sincerely believe that those of us who have been working remote for years and indie studios are having a much easier time managing production and keeping things on track than a lot of these bigger studios.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier. We both have kids, and they're the same age. And mine is every time Epic announces that the Fortnite, or a couple of weeks ago, that the new season gets pushed back a week, he's like, "What are they, Dad? What are they doing?" And I'm like, "You can't take Epic's office and go, all right, everybody go home and then log in on Monday, and we're going to keep going just like we always have."
Exactly.
It doesn't work like that. If you have 8 people, then it's a lot easier. And that's like, I've been working remote for 13, 14 years now. And it's like, this isn't that strange to me, but it's not like that everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, being a small team, it's really good on that sense. It's really good on the fact that, all right, if we need to move, let's move. Actually, like 15, it was about a week or a week and a half before the government start doing the whole. I mean, basically saying that people should work at home. We were talking in the studio saying, "Hey guys, let's make sure that everything is remote remote compatible, because this is not looking good." This is not looking good. So let's just make sure that everything is ready for it. But things went well. Yeah, things went well for sure.
I can't imagine, and this is one of those things where I'm going to like show my age, but I remember back even on the smaller company side when we had to have our mail server like in-house in the office and all this other stuff. And it was like, if this had happened then, it's like, okay, who's going to go back into the office and reset the router and the mail server and everything else so we can all VPN to the office? And it's amazing how far the industry has come. It's like, I remember when we used to have to fax contracts back and forth, and now people are like, "What the hell is a fax machine?" I'm like, Dad, don't worry about it. Nobody uses them anymore.
Yeah.
So, how much? I mean, it sounds like once everything's back, or y'all are at least somewhat back to normal. Lucky for you, we're in the States. We're not. Shit's getting worse. So you're going back. You're going to go back to the actual office plan, because I've talked to a lot of companies, publishers and developers, and this has been like an eye-opening experience for them, and they're like, we're not going back to an office.
I've read some articles about it. Some people saying that, hey, that worked fine, so let's just keep it that way. But to be honest, and I think that's the team's opinion, we need to be together. I know it's so cute, right? So romantic, but I think we need this. We need to be on this ecosystem. We need to be, and that's the cool thing about being on a tech park. It's not only us here. We do have our office. It's not like co-work or anything. We do have our office. We close our door and stuff, but we do have a cool ecosystem around us. We do have, a cool cafeteria here and stuff. So we were honestly eager to come back to the studio. We love working here, and I think it's good for us. It all depends on. It changes from person to person, but on our case, I believe that we need to have that schedule. You know, we need to get out of the house and actually wear pants and try to do something. You know,
That's
weird, right? No, yeah. I mean, we like it. We like it a lot. So yeah, we don't think about that unless there is another wave of this crazy pandemic. But until then, yeah, we are in our studio for sure.
okay. We're gonna wear pants and go to the office. So let's talk a little bit more about the Portuguese market in general. And you mentioned the market and talent and a lot of other aspects of it. Portugal is one of the countries that a lot of people don't put a lot of forethought into when they're talking about we're going to be doing European distribution. You always think of, EFIGs, English, French, Italian, German, Spanish, and so you're hitting all of those territories.
Yeah.
But what's the market like in Portugal for games?
I mean, you have a bunch of gamers. I mean, there is so many gamers here. I think that on that sense, it's comparable to every other country that has young people. I mean, people like to play video games. But one thing is for sure, the industry it's now getting a considerable size, and when I say the industry, it's the studios itself. I mean, we have a bunch of small studios that are doing awesome work. We on the last, I don't know, couple of years, that there was some cool games coming out of this industry. The Portuguese people do like to follow the Portuguese games, and we have brands like PlayStation that runs PlayStation talents in Portugal, which is really good for the studios, for the small studios specifically. But we unfortunately, when you talk about, for example, the whole localization of the games, when you talk about Portuguese, it's usually Portuguese from Brazil, not Portuguese from Portugal. Which it's different. It's not the same.
It is different. I took Portuguese in college.
It's not the same. And trust me, I know, because I was born in the Azores, but my whole family migrated to Brazil when I was 1 year old, and I stayed there until I was 16-year-old. So I do know the differences. But this is pure math. I mean, in Brazil, you have almost 200 million people. In Portugal, we are only 10. So it's not a matter of we do have gamers or not. It's a matter of size, and if it's worth to make the investment. That's the only issue, because I mean, trust me, people here is crazy about video games. We have, it was last November, I think. In 15 days, we had 2 gaming events. I'm talking about physical events on the same city, and on venues that were like next to each other, and they had thousands of people going, thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So we do have a market, yeah, but it's proportional to the size of the country. And sometimes for the publishers and for the big studios, it's not worth. It's not. Sometimes that I know that there is not even a marketing plan for Portugal. There might be for Spain, there might be for, I don't know, France, but there is not a marketing plan from Portugal. And I mean, it kind of sucks, but I understand that, and especially now that I'm on the gaming industry, and I know how they do their math. I know that it makes sense,
It does. It does suck, because everybody, at the end of the day, all these marketing plans are run by a spreadsheet anyway. And if the number isn't high enough on that spreadsheet, then it doesn't happen. The funny thing is, we see more indie games getting specialized localization and marketing plans than we see with the big companies. It's like, you've got like Slay the Spire and some of these titles that have been localized into dozens and dozens of languages. And you can't say that doesn't affect their bottom line, because it absolutely does. Anytime you can get, product to a market in the native language, that's awesome. So what percentage of the games that, are released do you think are actually have a Portuguese version, or are they just all in English?
Oh man, you can say, for example, the last one I remember, it's Last of Us 2, for example. I do know that they have a Portuguese version. I'm sorry that the guys are not here, because they would come up with a lot of other names. But FIFA, of course, it's soccer. Portuguese is crazy about soccer. So yeah, you do have in Portuguese Last of Us. I think the latest big titles, they actually do Portuguese localization, Portuguese from Portugal localization, with Portuguese actors. Doing voiceover. So I think that this is changing. I think that they're looking at us on a different way. But we are still very small, for sure.
So let's talk about pitching the game and the company, because you threw out a statistic right before we went live. I've never really tracked how many times we've pitched a particular game.
Oh, I did.
Guess some of them are in that same length, but you pitched 162 publishers and investors before you got funding.
Yeah.
Walk me through that. Where did you go? How did you pitch?
I never. It's a number that I never forget, because if I was on the military, that would be like my Medal of Honor. That would be like, all right, yeah. That sucked a lot. I got, because if you pitch 162 times, there was at least 161 no's that you got. So it sucks a lot, and especially if you when I was doing all those pitches, we didn't have any funding at all. So the project was like on standby. The guys, they were working on other companies, because we didn't have funding, and because we didn't have funding, people gotta eat, right? So it was something that we together decided that, since I was more comfortable with the idea, and especially because my super wife, which was which it is the biggest investor that we ever had. My wife said, "Hey man, I believe in the idea. Go for it, and I'll let's try to make it happen with my paycheck, and let's do this." So it was almost a year, but then I met the right investors, the right people, and they believed in the project. Most and foremost, they believed on the team, and we were able to raise our first round of investment, the amount needed to get the game funded, but one thing I can tell you is that I didn't got any investment going to indie to gaming events. I got the funding going to startup events. So that's why I believe that, all right, if you are a game development studio, all right, doing video games, it's your product, yes. But before that, you are a startup that you're probably gonna need to raise some funding. And what I feel is that in all of those events that I went, the amount of game development studios that I saw there was so little. In some of them, I was the only CEO of a game development studio. And I mean, it's kind of weird from one side, because I looked around me and I honestly, in the beginning, thought that I was doing something wrong, because, man, I'm the only one here pitching a game. But on the other hand, I was like, all right, if there is an investor that wants to invest in gaming, well, I'm the one. So I mean, that was basically it. I mean, if you go to our website, you can see that, all right, the gaming has some awards, and we are super proud of it. But the studio itself has awards too. We do have accomplishments as a studio, as a startup. So it's not only the game, it's the team behind it. Because on the end of the day, the investors, they do care that that your game, it needs to be good, but the team needs to be super good. The team needs to be super awesome, because the probabilities of your game fail, they are kind of high. So they want to make sure that, all right, I'm investing on those guys, but are they good enough to fail and keep doing what they do on a different project, and keep the company alive? And I think that's what they saw in us. I think that's basically what they thought about us was, all right, we have those guys. They're crazy for sure. They live on an island. They're trying to make video games. They have this cool game right here with some awards and stuff. But they look that they know what they're doing. And I think that's what that was the most important part. Was I was lucky enough to find investors that looked at the team first and then the game.
It's interesting because we are a little segmented off in the investment world. There are investors that are talking about Activision and Blizzard and EA and Take-Two all the time. That's the companies that tend to get the most attention, are the big publicly traded companies. But there aren't a lot of ways for investors to find video game companies. And we've had companies come to us and they're like, you're like fairly, on the consulting side, and they're like, you're in a fairly unique position. There aren't a lot of people that do what you do. And I'm like, well, yeah, we don't run around saying it quite like that because it sounds arrogant, but there really aren't a lot of people that do, what my firm does. Along that same line, if you're an investor, and especially right now during COVID, and we're just watching everybody's sales go through the roof because people are stuck at home and they're playing video games, where do you find companies to invest in? And so it's a great point. And it's something that I think is overlooked a lot. If you're a game studio and you're looking for investment, you can't just go to the game events. You have to go to tech startup events in general. And
because
say,
if
hey,
you
look.
if you think about it, Jay, the investors, they are smart. They look at numbers, and they watch the news. They know that the gaming industry is booming. They know that, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, everything related to digital entertainment, it's a good investment. So if you think you have a good product, and if you think that your team is able to deliver, it's a possible investment for sure. It's a possible investment. I can tell you that. I can tell you this, that I believe that every single investor that we have Redcatpig was their first investment in gaming. So what they think is, all right, if I'm going to risk it on the gaming, I mean, let's risk with a team that we believe that can deliver. And thankfully, we were the ones. But just like them, there's a bunch of different investors out there that are trying to find a good team to invest in gaming. Next week, for example, it was 2 weeks ago. On the same week, we attended Big in Brazil, which is a gaming event. We attended, I think it is DGC or yeah, I think
European EG.
No. It was an event in Dubai.
Yeah.
It wasn't in Dubai, but I mean, it was based on Dubai. We attended also Indigo, and we attended Collision from home. Collision, it's a startup dedicated event. It used to be local in Canada, and we were a part of the Portuguese committee, let's say like this. And when I was looking at their brochure presenting the Portuguese startups, on the gaming section, we were the only ones. And guess what? I'm still following up on good leads for investment on a possible second round. And that wasn't the first time that investors came to me and asked, "Hey, where are the gaming studios?" And I'm like,
send them to me, Marco.
Right, I'm gonna do that. Yeah. 5%. But yeah, I mean, so that's what we've been experiencing on those events. Of course, I mean, on all of the gaming events, we talk to investors, we talk to publishers, but it's always good for you to be out there. You know, it doesn't matter if you are on a gaming event or a startup event, because you are a company just like others. I mean, your neighbor must be making shoes. You're making video games. You need investors. I mean, you need to make a business plan. The guy that makes shoes needs to do the same thing. It's just a different product. I know that the gaming industry it's very particular, but in some aspects, it's not. It's not.
I agree. So where do you find the information on the investment shows and things like that? Because that's something that, I mean, we have a hard enough time getting the news out about game events every now and then to the industry. If you're a studio that wants to get involved in this, where do you go to find out where the investment events are?
One thing that helps us a lot is being on a startup ecosystem. That's one of the things that makes us always come back to the tech park. Is the fact that we are in the ecosystem. So we have first-hand information about a bunch of events that happened. But if you're not on a tech park, on an incubator or an accelerator, if you're working at home or if you're working on your own studio somewhere by yourself, I mean, you do have internet. I mean, just look at your local incubator, for example. You don't need to be there. Just do a protocol with it. We just make like a virtual incubation on that accelerator or on that incubator, whatever. You don't need to be there. As long as you are a part of the ecosystem, you have access firsthand to all of those events. And once you're in, once you go to the first one, I mean, you are a part of the system. I mean, they contact you, they keep you on the loop. And this is super important. I mean, our first non-gaming event was Web Summit 2018, and it's this huge event in Lisbon. But in order to be there, you need to be selected. I mean, you can go, but I mean, you can attend, but you're gonna pay a lot, and you don't have access to a booth. But if you go through a process through Startup Portugal, if you do a pitch and if you are selected, you can have a booth there, an actual booth, and this was very important to me. That was something that I was really looking for. And yeah, I mean, we did a pitch. I presented the game. They loved it. And yeah, so that was our first time on a non-gaming event. And because of that, it was super easy for us to get into Web Summit 2019. And because we went to Web Summit 2019, they invited us to go to Collision. And yeah, and so one thing allows the other, basically. So once you get into this cycle, man, you're done. You know, it's very. I mean, it's easier. I'm not gonna say that it's super easy because it's not, but it's a little bit easier.
It's never easy, and that's why a lot of studios don't realize that when you're doing BD as a developer, and especially if you're going for investment, that's not something that you can do while you're the producer of the game, while you're expected to be keeping up on code and art. It's a full-time job to be doing a lot of this stuff. And so there's companies like yours that aren't huge, that are small, and still being able to do this. I mean, that's an amazing.
Yeah, but let me tell you one thing that it's actually funny. The last time I coded, it was maybe 15 years ago. I don't know how to draw a card. So my only, yeah, I can say that. So my role on Redcatpig is project management, CEO, and sometimes, yeah, I keep remember the calls that we have scheduled. That's what I do. And so, and I take care of the social media too, but on a more casual way. But and I think that's the most important thing about our path until now, is the fact that we do have different roles. They are very specific, but at the same time, we need to work together. We do have, I mean, our coder, I mean, he's a coder, amazing coder, Brian's, I mean, he's watching this, and I'm saying amazing coder because the other day I talked about the 3D concept artist, and I said that he was very talented, and the coder got jealous. So I need to say that, Brian, you're talented. And okay, so we have very specific roles in the company. I know it's small, but that's what I do. I only do business development, take care of the funding, take care of the investors, take care of the partners, take care of the whole managing part of the company. So I'm pretty sure that this helps a lot the guys. You know, they don't have to worry about it. They just have to, I mean, just, it's not the right word, but their concern is 100% towards the game. The company, it's my responsibility. So I think that helps. I think that helps.
They just have to make the game. That's all. That's
yeah. I mean, it's nothing. Come on, it's just a game.
You just have to make it. That's no big deal.
Come on.
Hey, Indy, if I haven't told you before, you are talented. I appreciate that. I want to make sure I get you covered in there.
Oh, thank you. What did I do? What did I do wrong?
I'm just making sure you get the recognition that you deserve. Because
I am. I'm on the big screen, and you guys are like little teeny screens next to me. So,
and see, yeah, and that's why if you make him angry, you don't go live anymore. That's the the ultimate band hammer right there. All right, so if you're out there on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube or
Periscope
Twitch or wherever, we're all over the place. If you've got
Periscope.
questions about BD and investing as a small studio or as a big one, or if you're an investor and you want to know how to find other studios,
or what beard oil to use,
or what beard oil to use,
Right? Yeah. Let's take some questions about beard growing.
Yeah, how do I do
the
that?
number one, don't shave.
That's
Yeah,
a guess.
exactly.
That is absolutely key. That without a doubt, that's going to be one of the best ones. But yeah, if you have questions about beard oil, throw it up in chat. We have fancy software that lets us pull, chat from all over all these platforms, and so we'll grill Marco on all these items here. So, well, I mean, let's talk about the game. Tell me about the game. I mean, that's what you're.
Jesus, finally, we're talking about the game. Man, I was starting to get worried about it. No, I mean, all right, the game. It's a crazy project, man. It's a crazy project for sure. Very ambitious. If you think about it, being such a small team as we are, I mean, we are just trying to make a 3D game, vehicle combat game, which is 100% multiplayer. So it's come on, that's easy to do, right?
Just add multiplayer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just put some multiplayer on it. And yeah, I mean, it's a vehicle combat game. We have different game modes. We have different vehicles. They're all class-based vehicles, which is really cool for the game. The vehicles they are customizable in terms of cosmetics and some weapons. I mean, it has a total post-apocalyptic vibe for sure. But we wanted to do a fast-paced vehicle combat game. I don't think that nowadays. I mean, now you do have a few vehicle combat games, but I don't know. We just want to try to do something a little bit different. Until today, I mean, more than 1,000 people play the game on physical events only. The feedbacks are super cool. They're super positive. If everything goes well, it will be ready to ship by the end of the year. PlayStation 4 and PC on the same day. I can say that. Yeah, we have Kyo won best game on the PlayStation Talents Awards and best esports game also on the PlayStation Talents Awards. It was finalist for best game on IndieX and on Eurogamer. So yeah, I mean, it's a super cool project. We are working non-stop on it, we have a bunch of cool things coming for the game. A lot of people follow us on social media. I mean, please, if you're watching this, follow us too. And sometimes we do a little show off of what we are doing, but there is a lot of stuff coming that we don't make it public. But yeah, I mean, we have cool people with us. Actually, the guy responsible for Kyo's soundtrack, and we are very. I mean, we're super happy to have him on the project. He's called T-Lopes. He's actually Portuguese, but he lives in New Jersey, and he worked on small projects like, I don't know if you guys heard about Sonic Mania, for example. I mean, little stuff. And he's super talented. I presented the game to him. He loved the game, and he's working with us, creating the soundtrack. And we already have a few tracks done, and man, it sounds so good. It sounds really good. But yeah, this is on a nutshell. This is Kyo. I mean, if you go to the social media, we have trailers, we have videos, we have our YouTube channel also. Just go there and follow us.
So with the investment, are you looking for a publisher, or are you all going to self-publish?
No, man, I'm buying a car. Come on. I'm just kidding. We are making a deal with the publisher. Yeah, since the beginning, we didn't believe on self-publishing. I mean, we are a small team. Come on, it's crazy. It's crazy. So we do believe that with the right publisher, we can take this thing far. So yeah.
All right. So are you in the midst of signing, or if there are publishers listening, should they still reach out to you?
I'm listening to publishers.
Okay.
I'm listening to publishers. Yeah, for sure.
I want to make sure we get that out there so everybody knows.
Thank you.
to reach out and sign it up, because I mean, we see it a lot. Publishers are like everybody else; they want the least amount of risk possible, and so if they find a studio who's already funded through investment, they're like, "Oh, okay, that's less risk that we have to deal with." All right, so we're coming up on our hour here. We've got all the social media and their website. It's very easy, redcatpig.online, and you can check out the game and what they're doing and all of that sort of good stuff. And for those of you who are looking for investments, there's some nice little, awards that they've won that tell you exactly which investment summits they've gone to. So that's handy as well. I mean,
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
What else do we want to cover today that we haven't covered yet? And for those of you out there, this is the time to get your questions in if you want them answered live. So what else have we not touched on yet?
Man, I don't know. We talked about a lot of stuff already. Yeah.
This is
all the things.
It doesn't seem like we've been talking for an hour already, but we actually have.
Yeah.
There was a comment right here from Zinahito. He says, I hear that making marketing is also a full-time thing. I'm surprised you can do biz dev as well as marketing and project management.
I mean, we need. You're totally right. And I actually tried to manage Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and I think that's it for now. But again, and to be honest, it's on a casual way, as I say. I mean, it needs a lot more done than what I can do. It's hard for sure. But I mean, we are doing like soft marketing, because the publisher would be responsible for most of the jobs. I mean, as usually is. So what we try to do is do like a soft marketing. So post once in a while, showing off the game, making sure that the community remembers us. But I can't honestly say that we are doing hardcore marketing, because also we don't think it's the time yet. But yeah, but even then it's not easy. It's not easy. For example, before of the podcast, I was talking to the guys and saying, hey, don't forget the little video for a screenshot Saturday tomorrow. But I mean, we try to be present on those moments, screenshot Saturday and other ones. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. And I'm trying to do it on a casual way with their help. But even then, I mean, you can't say that it is a hardcore marketing thing that we are doing here.
So I know I feel you, because I have to do all of our marketing and social media stuff as well. And now Indy is helping me out with the stuff from Indie Game Business, which is a huge help because I'm not great at it either. It's like I know how to pitch a game to publishers and pitch companies to investors and all this B2B stuff. I've been running digital events and this podcast now for 2 years, and I don't know the first thing about how you pitch and promote a podcast. I'm learning on the event side, but not the podcast. I have no idea.
Yeah,
and
it's not easy.
So what tools do you use to try to make it easier for yourself?
I mean, I used a lot. I need to make everything accessible to me, and I need to make sure that I am able to do one of the hardest things to do in the industry, which is keeping in touch with every single contact that you make, because I know today it might be a maybe tomorrow, and it might be a yes on next week. So I try to keep in touch with every single event. So I use, for example, I don't know if you guys heard about, but I use Asana a lot. You know, Asana, it's a web tool that is it's a project management tool, and they also have a cool mobile app, so I can have it on my phone. But basically, when I go to gaming events or when I go to any event, I just every single contact that I make, I need to put the name, the date, their contact on that too. So then, I mean, if I need to follow up on anything, all right, I have everything there.
So you use Asana as your CRM?
Yeah, and it works perfectly fine. And I mean, Asana actually has been helping me for almost 6 years. And I just migrated to the gaming industry, and it is actually working fine. I mean, I have all the publishers there, all the investors, all the possible partners. I have everything there, and when I have, for example, this investor that I talked to 2 weeks ago, well, he didn't answer yet, so this is weird. Maybe he didn't get my email, so let me get in touch with him. So I have everything recorded on Asana. You know, every single step of the communication between me and the possible investor or the possible publisher or the possible partner, it's all there. So I know exactly what I sent him or what I didn't send him, or if I don't know, this guy is taking a lot of time to getting a feedback to me. So let's just remember him or something like it. I mean, it happened to me so many times that the guy on the other side didn't get my email. I mean, it went to spam or something happened. And the fact that I got in touch with him and said, hey, do you remember me? I mean, we talked on the other day on this event, and I sent you a build. You were supposed to tell me something, and it happened a lot. I mean, the guy just telling me that, hey man, no, I didn't get your email. Something happened, and then things start rolling again. This happens a lot, and I can only imagine if you don't keep track of all of these things, how many opportunities you can lose. You know?
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's one of the things that we talk about. We do a monthly webinar on like how to use our publisher list to actually find a publisher. And that's the first thing we talk about is that you have to have a CRM solution, and that's going to remind you, because it's not just that they're going to forget to come back to you. You're going to forget to go back to them as well. Yeah. And I've used Asana for a long time. We don't use it constantly. We use it like as needed almost. But I had never thought about using that as an actual CRM.
Yeah. That's what I've been using. And for example, when we attend gaming events that you have like back-to-back calls, sometimes 20 minutes back-to-back calls, I have in one screen the call and in the other screen Asana. So I'm just putting everything on them because I'm gonna forget it for sure. When you have like 12 calls on one day, they are all back to back, you're gonna forget. So I need to have Asana on the other screen, and I need to put everything in there, just to make sure that I don't forget to follow up. Otherwise, I will forget to follow up. I mean, it's we are humans, man. It's predictable that we might forget something.
It is. I mean, and so it's awesome to hear that you're doing that, because that's something that we preach constantly, that developers, just a lot of folks, they don't think about it. They're like, oh, well, of course I'll remember to follow up with that guy. He might be a publisher for us. It's like, no, you won't. You're gonna forget, or you're gonna like not know what you talked about, or something along those lines. It's like you said, we're human. I've been doing this 20 some years. I'm human. I forget. We started this show off with me thinking you were doing a conference somewhere, and so there you go. Well, Marco, I really appreciate you taking the time to come and do this, because this is fantastic. If you have questions later, Marco is on our Discord until he decides to like hide and run away.
And there's
Discord.gg/indie game business.
Man. I mean, thank you so much for the invite. I mean, it was super cool. I mean, it was an hour and 10 minutes, and it felt like 5 minutes. It was really cool.
It's this is fun. This is like some of the most fun I have all week.
Yeah. I loved it. This is really cool.
All right, Indy, you want to play us out here?
Sure. I've just put the link down below, indiegame.business, and that's going to give you access to all the speakers and sessions at the Meet to Match and Indie Game Business San Francisco Summer Edition 2020. That is in August 4th through 6th. We have a bunch of great speakers. We're also posting about that stuff on our social media, which is, of course, facebook.com Indie Game Business, and Twitter, twitter.com/businessindie. Thank you guys so much. Oh, yeah. Listen to all of our podcasts right there. Anchor.fm/Indie Game Business. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Do you know who we got?
Stay safe.
Bye.